Café Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
It's been a little bit of a while. I'm back. It's Mike with a smile. F episode 2704.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
2704 here at Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley. And it is Mike Matthews. And you are not Sally. Or maybe you are. Maybe you are Sally. In that case, hello, Sally. It is wonderful to have you here. And if Dolly is here, well, hello, Dolly. It's just so many people showing up here at
Mike's Daily Podcast
and Café Anyway. It's been a busy day or two, and I had to get up
Mike's
really early,
Daily
drive down
Podcast
to the radio station, and produce the Rob Black Show on the radio. In fact, here's something interesting that he said. I produce his podcast, The Rob Black Show, and he does a show in the mornings on AM 1220 KDOW and also is on television on Kron in the Bay Area in the 9 o'clock hour. But apparently homeschooling is booming. A historically high number of U.S. parents see their kids as too cool for school, particularly public, private, or charter school. The number of homeschooled children was 51% higher last year than it was between 2017 and 2018. At the same time, public school enrollment dropped by 4%. I mean, that's not a huge amount, but still, homeschooling rates have decreased from pandemic highs, though. It did reach a high. Oh, and speaking of which, if you are listening to this on the 8th, it is Parents as Teachers Day, so that fits right in. The total number of American kids learning their ABCs at home is between 1.9 million and 2.7 million, exceeding the Catholic school student body.
And here's today's podcast picture.
In the U.S., and yours truly did go to Catholic school, high school only though, but I made some lasting friendships there. Not with priests, but with people that are classmates that I went to school with, and still talk to some of them. The Café Anyway podcast picture today is going to be some wonderful other picture from the fantastic voyage I took. Oh, that's a movie with Raquel Welch, Fantastic Voyage. She got all the roles in the 70s. Hey, it's the late great Basil the Boxer. I don't think he ever saw the Fantastic Voyage, but he was such a great dog. And I would take him to the bay quite often, but to actually be on the bay, well, I took a bunch of pictures, and you can see one of them that I took at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Yes, I have a website. Yes, I am telling people to go there instead of social media, because social media will kill you. Anyway, Café Anyway. Schools are failing to meet their kids' unique needs. That's what a lot of parents are saying. Also, they say they don't like the bullying, and they have increasing concerns that curricula doesn't align with their values. And I heard something about that recently as well, pertaining to, well, there's one commentator who was talking about that in specific in regards to what is happening on the front of colleges. And let's see. Oh, I just found it. The toxic environment on the American University campus. Here it is. Horrified Americans have watched anti-Semitism erupt on elite college campuses. At Harvard, more than 30 student groups blamed Israel for the Hamas attack. Penn will host an internationally condemned anti-Semite during the High Holy Days. Course material at Princeton promotes blood libels against Jews. Cornell students were advised to avoid a Jewish center after threatening messages were posted online. Let's see. Oh, this is from Carol Platt-Liebau. She also says that it's been an open secret that China has funded Confucius Institutes at our university. Okay, Cornell, Harvard, and NYU are among the biggest recipients of Arab funding, with Cornell having taken the most, a whopping $1.5 billion. Our universities have been targets of foreign-funded influence campaigns. And then there was something Hugh Hewitt was saying that was a recent one. Yes, the explosion of anti-Semitic violence and rhetoric that we are witnessing in the United States is, well, he was saying the campus culture that permits this and the K through 12 education systems that did not prevent this ancient evil from taking deep root have got to be changed immediately, he says, by donors and then by state and federal law. The Department of Education has an Office of Civil Rights. Where is the announcement of an investigation of universities standing by as their Jewish students are assaulted and threatened, and some actually battered?
Addenda with Kevin.
So it was all of that and more that is making a lot of parents decide to go the homeschooling route.
MTV News. You hear it first.
Now, Rob was saying he was concerned that there's not a lot of quality control, and come on, there has to be something said about schoolyard socializing out on the playground during recess. Yes, there's sometimes the bullying going on, but there's also friendships that will last lifetimes that begin there. So there might even be some IPOs in the future, he says. OutSchool, a platform that allows parents to design curricula out of crowdsourced classes, has brought in $255 million in funding. As we go outside of Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth.
Anyway.
And did you hear about this? The National Association of Realtors, Keller Williams, and Berkshire Hathaway's Home Service of America ruled in a federal jury in Missouri that they conspired to artificially inflate brokerage commissions for sellers of up to 6%. So they are on the hook. Realtors are on the hook for $1.8 billion in damages. Plaintiffs claim the defendants colluded to drive up the commissions that sellers pay to brokers representing home buyers. This ruling only affects thousands of homes in Missouri and parts of Illinois and Kansas. Darn, I wish it involved Florida. Last year, I had to sell my mom's house because my mom passed, and the house had a reverse mortgage on it, and I was on a time crunch to get the house sold. There was a deadline, so I had to rush to get it done, plus hurricane season was coming, plus the whole insurance thing going on in Florida where people just can't get home insurance. It's gone through the roof like it has here. Like you can't get certain insurance here in California anymore. So I was rushing to get it sold, and I asked the real estate agent, who I never met in person. It was always on phone. Never did any Zoom calls with her, but she was recommended to me by a realtor that I used here locally in Podcastro Valley. And she seemed pretty with it, and I liked her intentions, what she wanted to do with the house, and how she understood the house and how to sell it.
Holding court with Lady Katie. Lady Katie.
Woo!
Kathy's Corner.
Da-da-da-da-da. Kathy's Corner.
Magnification. A flying saucer. Welsh on the world.
If you're going to make any money at it, you got to work a lot of radio jobs. And in the jobs that come from radio jobs, that seems to be and then marry someone who's rich. It's something along those lines. It's a starving artist kind of lifestyle. I know. I know. And that's probably why 99% of the reporters that you hear on the radio or you see on TV are young, really young, like not even married, haven't had kids yet, probably are single and still enjoying the single life and care that the Bumble CEO just retired and stepped down and all that because they used the Bumble and the Tinder and all the other stuff. They're young. They're really young. And that is how it is. I don't know, back in my day, I'd say in the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, a little bit before my time, but it was pretty much the standard that your reporters sounded older, sounded experienced, sounded grizzled. You don't have that anymore in radio. I know I don't have that kind of voice myself.
The Royal Trump Tweet Decree.
And this is how it is. I am Walter. This is how it is. Walter Cronkite. Actually, my lovely lady friend really enjoys my Norwegian accent. Shall I? Well, it's very interesting to be a Norwegian.
Fabagoo. Things to do.
You will travel into the incredible universe.
He had kind of a Norwegian thing going. He was awesome. He introduced me to ABBA. Hey, here's the thing. Thank you, George, for introducing me to ABBA. But the point is that the lifestyle in radio. Okay, so you got to think on your feet. You got to be business minded in some way, because it is not called show. It's called show business. There is a business side to what we do, and often the artists don't really have the mind for business. So what you got to teach yourself, you've got to go to school, you got to get learned somehow in the business world. When you're in the radio world or in any kind of artistic, let's say you paint, let's say you act, let's say you sing, it behooves you, like David Bowie, like many other artists. Taylor Swift is a perfect example. She has a lot of business training from her dad, particularly. So it's good to learn to beef up your business brain if you're an artist and you don't really have that. Now, opposite that, if you have a big business brain, if you're good at numbers, if you're good at selling things, you might want to deal a little bit with the artistic side. Take a class.
This is Mike's Podcast Picnic.
Listen to music. Watch a little more of the concerts on YouTube and the plays and musicals and stuff. Go to a museum. Go to an art museum for sure. And buy some art. Okay, I've got a little off topic, I think. That's the name of this podcast, is Off Topic with Mike. No, it is actually a coworker that I work with bought several houses. And I told him, he asked me, actually, how much of a percentage how much of a commission are you giving to your real estate agent? And I said, well, 6%. He goes, no, 2% at the most.
I got through that. I got into it.
No, try and get 3%. Try and get 2%. Well, I didn't really have the luxury of finding a different real estate agent if this one wasn't going to move. So I thought the point was moot. So apparently, though, other people have brought this case up, and the ruling is for people in Missouri, parts of Illinois, parts of Kansas, not the rest of the country, but we'll see how that goes. The jury awarded the jury award was actually tripled under the U.S. antitrust law to more than $5 billion. It costs 2 or 3 times as much to sell a house in the United States as it does in other industrialized countries. Trying to get rid of the house, as I was trying to sell it, we, as I did, had to pay brokerage commissions of up to 6%. 2 other brokerages, Remax and Anywhere Real Estate, settled a similar case. Earlier this year, they had to pay $138 million bucks. And that might be just the start of realtors' troubles. The Justice Department is reportedly scrutinizing the industry's entire brokerage commission structure. So if only this had happened before 2022, it would have been a lot easier for me. But it did not. So that is how Meta, by the way, has had to spend some money, and they're having their own litigious world thing happening where they're being sued, being scrutinized, particularly involving Instagram. We were talking about that on a recent podcast, which I thought was odd, that why them and not TikTok. But Meta, which has Instagram, which has Threads, which I don't know that many people that use it. I'm on there, MikesDailyPodcast.threads.com, I think it is, but it is, and Instagram. They're spending $2.3 million per year flying Mark Zuckerberg around. Meta takes the top spot in private security spending, shelling out $25 million just last year to protect Zuckerberg. $25 million to protect him. And interest rates, as you know, they are high. And with retail credit cards, they are crazy. They have reached a record 33%. Yes. Oh, I won't pay whatever it is I bought. Bam. You suddenly now owe what you paid for what you bought. You got to pay that back and add 33% of what you didn't pay yet. Credit cards can actually charge whatever they want. It's a little known fact.
Mike is on it, man.
Man go where no man has gone before.
We love it, Mike.
Retailers that are charging such high percentages include Wayfair, Ross, Michaels. Everybody loves Michaels this time of year with the holidays and decorating. And Burlington Coat Factory. Gosh, those are all the places my ex-wife used to love to go to. Ugh.
Magnification.
And if you're thinking about buying something like an Apple Watch for the holidays, the Apple Watch coming out next year is going to be able to detect blood pressure, sleep apnea, and it's going to have health coach services in it somehow. So, wow, there. My lovely lady friend uses something that can detect how much stress she has, how much anxiety, because that is such a thing and affecting everybody these days. And I think all she has to do is put the camera right up against her finger and does something like it. They were just like, no, it just was whatever the phone. It wasn't some added hardware. It was just using the phone itself, and no extra hardware was involved. That's fascinating. Oh, we're outside a Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcaster Valley. Look who's here. Hi, Mark. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How you doing? I brought my host dinner.
It's a Disgruntled Fiddle Player telling you
what.
What's going on? What's all that happening just now?
The mic stand broke. Nilly must have stepped on it. That's going to happen outside a Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcaster Valley. Whatnot.
Yeah, okay. Hey, all that was really good stuff. You know, we homeschooled Nilly. She,
people get stuck on stupid. You know what I mean?
Wow. That's good. Stayed close to home. That's very impressive. You know, Nilly's a horse.
Of course.
Look who else is here.
Hello, man. Can I make the delicious root beer? Here's some right now.
Thank you. I'm going to try it right now. Oh, wow. What's in that?
Eggnog.
Oh, wow. Eggnog?
Eggnog.
I don't know what eggnog is, but I don't want to know. But, yeah, we're getting close to the holidays.
Drink it right now, can't you?
Not if it's eggnog. I don't think I'll have another sip. I'm going to just take my chances and defend myself against you, Brewmaster. Now, there were two other stories I wanted to get to. And real quick, one of them is Jeremy Renner, the guy that plays Hawkeye. No, not the guy not Alan Alda. That would be MASH. No. He, just after over 10 months since he was nearly killed by his snowplow.
Bans mutations.
Jeremy Renner is offering fans a new update on his healing journey. After being released from the hospital mere weeks after breaking over 30 bones when he was pulled under the track of his plow. Yes, his plow. Wow. Yeah. Farm work is not safe, everybody. It is not safe work. That is some difficult, life-threatening stuff. You got to be really careful. He posted fairly regular updates as he rested at home, pushed himself in physical therapy, and he got back on his feet. But it's been over 2 months since he last gave a glimpse into his recovery. This past, it was yesterday, actually. The 52-year-old returned to Instagram with his latest thoughts on healing, revealing a number of therapies that he's given a shot since earlier this year and what's helped him the most. Every day since then, he wrote that he's had countless hours of physical therapy sessions, peptide injections, IV drips, stem cell and exosomes, infrared therapy, and sessions in a hyperbaric chamber, as well as cold plunges. Oh, there are people that swear by cold plunges. They're like, I'm going to get cold plunge put in my house. It's good. It helps you fight, stay in shape and fight inflammation.
When you are a man, sometimes you wear stretchy pants.
So he posted what appears to be a selfie, lying shirtless on an outdoor lounger wearing an infrared therapy mask, though some of the image is obscured by a bandaged heart emoji. And there. Well, okay, we wish him well. We also wish Jennifer Aniston well, because she is devastated after Matthew Perry's death. She is the only one struggling most acutely. This according to FPJ, Free Press Journal. Her friends are concerned about her in the wake of Matthew Perry's death. According to an industry insider, the Friends star has taken his death at the age of 54 quite hard. She and the other 4 remaining cast members of Friends attended his burial last Friday. Out of the remaining 5, Jen and Courtney are reeling the most, said the source. And Jen is probably the one who is struggling most acutely. It's a second massive loss in less than a year, with the 1-year anniversary of her dad's death just around the corner. She still hasn't fully regained her footing from that, and now this has just completely knocked her off her feet. So, Aniston's father is John Aniston, who appeared on Days of Our Lives when the actor, he died at the age of 89 last year. She called him one of the most beautiful humans I ever knew. I did not know her dad was an actor. Interesting. And George Clooney, his dad was, I don't know if he's still alive, was he was on the news on NBC in LA when I was a kid. I remember seeing him anchor the news. As did Jerry Dunphy, who used to live on my street in Channel Islands Harbor. I actually had the utmost honor to live in Channel Islands Harbor in one of those houses right on the water. And just so you know, if you're like, I always wished I could do that. That sounds great, Mike. Okay, here's the deal. When you're that close to the water, that moisture gets everywhere. Oh, we had a mold problem. Oh, it was nasty. Ooh, gosh. You need to... And we were not the wealthiest people. My mom was renting the place. And rent was not that bad in Oxnard at the time, but in Channel Islands Harbor. But dang, things got mildewy and icky and moldy and yuck. But yes, just... he lived on our street. He lived in one of the nice houses down the street. It was at the end. One of these big old mansions. Jerry Dunphy. I don't know if anyone remembers that. I think he was on ABC. But he was a pretty big name in television. He was a big time news anchor. Yes, let's hear it for the news anchors and the Ron Burgundys of the world. And George Clooney, of course, is related to Rosemary Clooney. I think that's his aunt. Was his aunt. And let's see, George Clooney's dad is Nick Clooney. That's right. I don't know why I thought Fred.
This show is clean.
And it appears he is still alive. Awesome.
Pretty much.
Yeah, he was born in 1934. Wow. 89 himself. So we wished Jennifer and Jeremy, the two J's, we wish them well. And I wish you well. If you're going through, life sometimes throws it all at you all at once.
Anyway.
And it's either feast or famine in this world. And that includes good things. A bunch of good things happen at once. It seems with all the good things happening at once, though, we don't really notice it as much as when the bad things all happen to us at once. After a while, when a bunch of good things happen, you're like, oh, you just start to get that entitled thing where you're like, oh, boy, I'm really blessed. But after a while, it's like, wow, why is all this good stuff happening? But in the end, when all the bad stuff happens, at some point, hopefully, it usually does.
As you know, there's a real scary holiday coming up.
It's something stops. And that's just maybe pay attention to that more as when it all comes falling down, when it starts to go up, applaud yourself. Little baby steps. Applaud the baby steps. And hopefully you're going in the right direction. Just put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking out the door, as that wizard said in that Santa Claus special that was voiced by Mickey Rooney. Santa Claus is coming to town, I think it was. Okay, I really think we need to end the podcast here. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. And if you'd like to comment on anything, on some of my weird comments, here's where to call.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
And with more ways to reach me, here is a friend.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com.
Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye.